What is up, every good people of the world? Welcome, greetings. Thank you for being at the Mad Poet Show. I haven't been live in like 8 or 9 freaking months. I put a video up on YouTube yesterday talking about kind of where I've been. Short story. I've had sleep apnea and it punched me in the brain. Getting much better these days. Went out for a real good 6-mile run earlier today and hoping this show's going to work out. You know, I had to get all my stuff back in order with the lights and everything, and I'm not sure about the batteries that are happening here. Those are an important part of this, my wireless. But we got Therese. Great to see you as well. Thank you very much for being here. Cursive Trauma, Sean, hola, welcome. Glad to see you. Hope you and the young lady are doing fine. By young lady, I mean his daughter. He doesn't, do weird stuff. And Big John Guitars coming in. Great to see you. I'm still rocking. Yes, it's good to still be rocking. I'm hoping to be streaming much more often these days. And feels good. It feels really good to be on the guitar again. So thank you everyone for being here. Wherever you're coming in from, very much appreciate it. Yes, guitars are good. So, like I said, batteries might be a limiting factor here. I've got some extras, but they appear to mostly be dead. I've got rechargeable batteries, and I recharged them up last night, but I think that it's just been too long that they've been sitting doing nothing. So, yeah. So we'll do what we can. This might be a little bit of a short show today, and if that's the case, then we'll stop early. Because that's what we do, We're just making things happen here. It's kind of really just running the test to see how things work. And hopefully, if let me know if there are any visual or audio problems that you guys are seeing, because I haven't streamed in a while, and hopefully my settings are all still reasonably good. I kind of tested some stuff out in advance over the last couple weeks, hoping to get it right, but you never really know if you're getting it right until you go live and find out. So let's play another song. I'm going to, what are we going to do here? Let's see how this works. I'm going to play the next song. Right now we're playing my 66th album. The album is called Schizonoid Paraphrenic. That first song was called A Slow Descent into Madness. And fun fact, out of 66 published albums, that is one of only 2 songs that has a Picardy third for the ending. So let's try this next one, this next piece. Keeping it up with a nice high pace here. This is called The Curse. Tunes, music, rocking. So as I know a few of you guys who are watching who have watched my my video on where I've been for the last almost year, and I mentioned in there that I do have 2 new albums that are complete and ready to go, and I'm really looking forward to playing those live. I feel like, and I mentioned the song "Rain Over Nowhere" is a very significant piece that has a lot of meaning to it. But both of those albums, I feel like, are my best work to date with respect to composition, production, performances all the way across the board. So looking forward to, basically, what the main thing I was delaying them was to be able to do shows for their releases. So those will probably be coming out soon. We got Steven coming in. Hey, Steve, and in fact, Stephen Paris, who's coming in here. I recently did an interview with him that's also going to be being posted here soon. I've got that all edited up. It came out so good. And Steven and I have been friends for like 75,000 years or something. And we sat and talked so many times, just talking music theory and music and bands and musicians. And basically we just recorded one of those conversations, and it came out great. So I think that'll be a very enjoyable thing. Steven, thank you very much for stopping in. And of course, everyone, if you're just lurking, you're just watching and listening and not chatting, thank you just as much for being here. Greatly appreciated. My subscribers, tippers, chatters, lurkers, everyone is welcome. The Mad Poet Society is open to all. It's a good time. Good times. Okay. Well, my battery seems to be holding stable at about 1/3, so we'll see. The meter on it, I don't know how much I trust it. It says I got 2 hours of juice in it. This show will not be 2 hours long, even if I play all the songs. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Let's try this next one. I really like my music for exercising. I think I make good exercise music. And this is one of the songs that I feel like there's a couple songs on this album actually, and this is one of them that's just like, this one really gets you going for exercise purposes. And this is a fun one for me as a improvisational performer because it's all over the place. There's tempo changes, there's key signature changes, and it's just changing all over the place. It's a lot of fun to move around and work all that out. Let's hope for another gear explosion. I've had, this, when I put, that was from Steven. When, the night that Steven and I met, you'll hear this full story in the interview with him. The night that he and I met in person, I was doing an opening show for them, and my guitar kind of blew up on me. And I have had a gear explosion here in online shows, my streaming shows. It's about 4 years ago. I was actually facing the other way in the room at the time, but my smoke machine caught on fire. It's the only time that I've ever cussed on stream. And I feel like the cussing was strongly warranted that night. That was another thing that cut a show short. There are a multitude of possible things that can cut a show short. Crazy to think. Nonetheless, let's do this. This one is called Object of the Deepest Scorn. Stephen is pointing out that the music is excellent, not just for exercise, but also is also great for gardening. And Darmadoy just like to say that you should shut up. How do you like that, little guy? Just shut up. All right, so still not sure about the battery, so I'm gonna go a little short today. I'm gonna skip ahead here to the title track, which is just I've got to credit my awesome daughter with the title of this album and also the title of the title track, because that being the title track will have the same title as the title of the album, because stuff. She came up with this. She is a sick, twisted individual just like me, and I think it's freaking awesome. It pleases me greatly. She really is a great gal. Love her to death. And so she came up with the idea of, hey, Dad, you should do an album called Schizonoid Paraphrenic. And I'm like, yes, you know what? You're right. I should. And so I did. And this title track, I don't know. I let Dick know that I was playing tonight, and I don't know if he was able to make it. But if you're out there watching, Dick, hope you're doing well. As regulars will know, I dedicate a song to someone on every album that I do. And this is dedicated to my buddy Dick Chartrand. We used to be in a theater production together, and he played kind of this comic relief character. I played this real stoic character, and I would choke him and smack him around and stuff on stage. And I would never do a role like that with someone I didn't like. But he was just this totally great guy, really high energy person. So when I was getting ready to dedicate a song to him, I was like, we need a high energy piece of music. I think I got it right with Schizonoid Paraphrenic. Let's do this. Well, I'm dropping beads of sweat in my glasses. That's a good sign for doing a show, I would have to say. How's this battery situation looking? So here's the thing. Like 3 songs ago, I said, it's showing 2 hours, but now it's showing 1 hour. So that's why I don't really trust the timer on it. So I think I'm gonna do a couple more songs here. And it's been, about a 45-minute stream so far. Not counting the whole count-in time with all the junk. But I don't want to run out in the middle of a song. I've done that way too many times. So let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's jump forward to when the light begins to fade. We're going to slow it down here a little bit. And we'll see where we're sitting with battery after that. And make decisions. Now it's back up to saying 1:20. See, I don't trust it. When it turns to red, then I know I don't got much time. That's hypothetically a 15-minute timer, but I don't trust it. One of my big challenges when I was recording this album, there's 2 slower pieces on it. And on both of them, I found myself just putting way too many notes in. Because I kind of like to play fast. I like to get going and do the thing. And sometimes you got to force yourself back. So I enjoy playing songs like this just for that reason, to kind of put yourself into a different improvisational musical mindset and see where that takes you. So we're going to slow her down to 88 beats a minute. We're in G minor. If anyone is so inclined to grab their violins or their flutes or their euphoniums or saxophones and play along and do a little improv of your own, this is called When the Light Begins to Fade. Steven says, so good. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, the slow songs are... I really like playing a variety of ways. And there's something great about a song like Schizoid Paraphrenic where it's just like, straight going for it, and just getting after it. I love that stuff. But also it's nice to have that kind of exploratory... There's almost like a... like... One is like, playing Schizoid Paraphrenic is like, I'm off on a grand adventure, fighting beautiful monsters and saving them from ravening princesses. And then, like that one, when the light begins to fade, it's just like going out on a pleasant journey. Just kind of seeing what's going on, watching the sunrise, the sunset. Well, sunset, so if I'm watching the sunrise, I'm probably still awake. Much more likely than already awake. So there is that part. Oh, that wasn't Stephen. That was Amrita. Oh my gosh, I saw the platform and I assumed it was Stephen. Amrita, oh, thank you so much for coming in. It's so great to see you. I hope you are doing awesome. Yeah, still, the statement still stands, but I didn't look at the name. Thank you so much. Oh, she's an awesome gal. Been a fan for a long time. Cool. So we're gonna do 2 more songs here. I'm pretty sure my Brad ear is gonna last for 2 more songs. And these are both good upbeat pieces. And what sound does the octopus make? The octopus says, yeah, and don't forget it, because I was there. I don't care if the octopus claims that he didn't say that. I was there. I know what the octopus said. I'm a weirdo. If anyone is new here, if you're just watching for the first time, or you haven't watched often, I'm a weirdo. Look out for that. And that is very much embodied in this next piece, which is called I Thought I Was Someone Else. Kind of checking on my stats here, making sure things are good. It's been so long since I've streamed that I'm kind of getting back to the feel of where things are at. I've changed a few things around a little bit, but I feel like the setup is working out pretty reasonably. Ugh. Running 6 miles does make you thirsty. I got electrolyte drink and water of what is that, 32 ounces plus 16, 48 ounces. I've almost finished off during the show and I'm still thirsty. Whew. It was a good run though. It's a good run. Man, running out where we live out here in the middle of Eastern Washington, it is just bonkers gorgeous running through the desert and the farmlands and stuff. It's like running through a freaking Bob Ross painting out there. It's so great. Oh, I always look forward to my run. It's a good time. Okay, so I want to do just one more tonight, and I'm definitely planning to be streaming much more regularly again. As I said in my recent YouTube video, I'm not going to have like a regular schedule. It's just going to be when I feel like going live, I'll go live, and if I don't feel like going live, I won't. And doing videos, same kind of thing. I'm just going to be putting stuff out here and there. I definitely plan on releasing my 2 new albums in the near future. Then, so that's album 67, 68. Album number 69 is probably about 2/3 composed. And that won't take too much to get that one recorded up. That one, Steven, who was tuning in here, there's a song dedicated to him on that one that will be very fun. There's some fun stuff that goes along with that. And yeah, so looking forward to seeing you all again in the near future. This is the last song of the evening. And ladies and gentlemen, you didn't think I was going to miss this, did you? We have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. This is called Destroy It. Destroy It All. think our timing turned out right on that. My battery light is moving to red. I've got one rogue light back here that's gonna have to be, that's a quick and easy fix, but this was fun. It feels so good to be back online here. Thank you all very much for tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from. Much appreciated. Chatters, tippers, subscribers, followers, lurkers, viewers, whatever you are, wherever you are, whatever you do, do it well. Thank you very much for coming in. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. Until next time, I will see you